This particular message is for Atiku Abubakar supporters. I can see that a lot of you are becoming increasingly impatient with Peter Obi and the Obedient to moving fully into the coalition idea and what a lot of us are now seeing as a coalition for Atiku Abubakar's presidency for 2027. Hold on. While we are ready to take over Nigeria and end the tyrannic, terrific, terrible, clueless, valueless, worthless reign of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we are also a lot more very careful in the kind of marriage or romance that we do with a lot of the career politicians that have been around for a while. Take nothing from Atiku Abubakar. We see him as a detribalized Nigerian who over the years has shown that he's a cosmopolitan politician with the ability to be able to put a few things together and get the nation going. However, his participation in 2023 elections created some form of coloration, maybe somebody want to say stain, to that particular brand of politics he's played over the years. So it's a whole lot. And unfortunately, in our culture, healing, emotional healing or mental healing is not part of the process or part of the usual routines, but it's very important. People will take time to heal of that. I'm not here endorsing Atiku to be president, Peter Obi to be VP or anything. I'm just saying that for this particular coalition, marriage to work, then I know there is so much needs to be done, but you guys have to be more strategic. And looking at a few things the Obedient did wrong in 2023, I can tell you that from the book of experience, you guys may have to learn from that, where you do not be in a hurry to want to change a particular narrative and you don't care any other person's interest, another person's perspective, another person's opinion. It's a very dangerous thing, you must know. I see a lot of you making that mistake. We cannot argue that the 2023 elections were rigged, but the build up to that elections, at some point on that journey, something was distorted, something happened, and a lot of the things happened. There were some that were direct and indirect influence of the ruling party or ruling class to be able to infiltrate the mindset of Nigerians, especially Nigerian youth, towards what they should see as a perception of who they think should take over Nigeria. And I've said it everywhere. One of the undoing of 2023 elections was when ethnic bigotry or tribal bigotry coloration was brought into that particular electioneering. People, Nigerian youth, especially after the NSAS protest and massacre, agree that we need to change the scope of leaders. And even though Peter Obi wasn't certainly new, but it looks like somebody that was different from the pack, and Nigerian youth, so many Nigerian youth went behind him, wanted to give him the support. At some point, when the masterminds of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and these organized criminal of political destabilization took over that campaign, they sowed ethnic hate, they sowed tribal bigotry, they sowed a lot of lies and propaganda, and that began to deflate the Nigerianness of that particular campaign, and that turned it to a tribal one. Of course, it wasn't true anyway, like I said, it's propaganda. And at some point, even some persons that were with the movement genuinely started to lose focus, because a lot of tantrums will make people say a lot of things, and people began to, and that is something that we should never have gone into, sincerely. So however, it is also important that the Atiku campaign team, or those of you who are passionate to see Nigeria walk through Atiku Abubakar, should also take a chill pill and let's do this together. We need to walk through the path. I'm particularly pleased with the maturity Atiku has had in this whole process. I can tell you for a fact, having listened to what I've listened to here, what I've heard, and seeing what I'm seeing, I can tell you that the really reason, one of the reasons Peter Obi is in this coalition is because Atiku has shown to be a father figure. Some of us think should just be a father figure all through, sit back and allow this happen. However, a lot of political calculations and permutations are going to happen, and at the end of the day, we will allow politicians to do their job while we as a people will provide the needed support to make Bola Ahmed Tinubu get into office. I'm more interested in taking Bola Ahmed Tinubu out of Aso Rock than anything else for now, and I mean that sincerely. So that being said, you guys may need to calm down. So much is being pushed, and you already seen Obedient saying that if it is not Peter Obi, and especially the way you guys are doing it, they let Tinubu continue. If we want to save this country, we must save it strategically. And remember, this is what Bola Ahmed Tinubu wants, where this division comes. We don't want anybody to leave this coalition. We need to work together. Whatever we decide to do in 2027, for 2027 elections, must be for the interest of all Nigerians, must be for the generality of Nigerians, and must be for the sustenance of our democracy and the enrichment of our institutions. We are interested to taking Nigeria back from this gang of criminals who are also cut boys, cut like in heart, and disturbing. I don't even want, there's no adjective to even quantify the level of disaster we are in. So I beg of you people, all of you from the Atiku Abubakar camp, there's so much. And like I said earlier, there's so much of, remember that all of this has a lot of implications. There's been this perceived mindset that has been sold and never ever, nobody has ever tried to remove it, to believe it that there is a superior tribe in Nigeria, that the north of Nigeria, the Hausa Fulani clans, sit comfortably. In 2027, as we begin to move to 2027, that is already waking up, and that's why a lot of people will say, no, if we do most die suffer, let's go and give it to Tinubu. All of that needs to be done to a lot of negotiations, so don't just wake up to think that there's una supposed to get sense. Now the only way Peter Obi can become president is that. No, calm down. A lot of people do not really care when they are. Someone said that a man's name is to him the sweetest and the most important sound in English language. You have to call a man his name first before you tell him, can we go my way? Very important. And I say this as I'm young at heart, very small, but I'm talking like a statesman, privilegedly. Let's begin to calm down and build this plan. It is not enough. Sometimes your permutations may not matter. Some of you have been in your house writing permutations, drawing lines. That was how Tinubu drew lines and drew lines in 2023. He had to resort to INEC to save him his face. We have to calm down. We made a lot of mistakes in 2023. We made so many mistakes in 2023. Irrespective of the outcome of the elections, we should not repeat the errors in 2023. If some of you have told Atiku the truth, he would not have been running. If some of you have done the right thing, we should have had a PDP that would have presented a ticket that was viable enough and strong enough. And at that point, should we know what we now knew of the election, Nigerians would have demanded that the election is cancelled. And it would have been cancelled. Trust me. Because that Buhari that was in office, I could tell you. Clueless enough, not because he was a Democrat, clueless enough, and he would just fear. 10 million Nigerians were on the street. He would have. Well, we must make better plans for 2027. Peace.